Okay, so Leetcode practice time. So there are two goals in this video. The first one is to see how to solve this problem, find the solution, then we are going to do some coding work. And the second one is to see how we should behave in a real interview. So let's get started. So remember, the first thing is to always try to understand the problem and ask some clarification questions in case there is anything you don't understand. And also think about the edge cases. So for this one, let's see. Strobogrammatic number 2, okay? So a strobogrammatic number is a number that looks the same when rotated 180 degrees. So 180 degrees means looked at upside down. So find all strobogrammatic numbers that are of length n. Alright, so I think I kind of understand the problem. And I think the edge case I can currently think about is n is equal to 0, then what should we return? Then I think n is equal to 0, then we just return an empty list. So let's find the solution. So how to solve this problem? So first of all, we need to see which numbers we can treat as like a pair when we look upside down. So for 1, we could have 1. When I look upside down, it is 1. So when for 6 it is 9, for 9 it is 6, and for 8 it is 8. If there's I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should take care of. So it's 2, no. 3, no. 4 is no. 5, 6, we have it. 8, 7, I don't think so. 7, 8, and 9. Alright, so we have I think we have the 0 to 0, 0 stuff. So if it is 0, 0, so of course if n is equal to 1, we could return 1, 0, or 8. So otherwise, if n is larger than 1, then we cannot really have the 0 to appear as the first digit. But if n is equals to 3, then of course we can have something like 1, 0, 1, so something like that. So I would say we will need to treat n when n is odd, and when n is equal to even. So n, it could be even or odd. So this is something we need to think about. And the other special thing I think is the 0 stuff. So we cannot put 0 at the very beginning except n is equal to a 1. Yeah, so I think that's it for... Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, sure. So let's think about how to solve this problem. So we have found all the cases. I would say we could define a recursive function to find it, like we enumerate. So for each bit, okay, so let's say for n, so we could define a recursive function like we enumerate. So for each bit, we enumerate all the possibilities, but for each bit, the possibility, if it is starting, if it is a first digit, when n is larger than 1, then it could be 1, 6, 9, or 8. So that's finite enumeration. And so for example, let's just give you an example. Let's say when n is equal to 3. So when you try to enumerate the first digit, it could be either 1 or 6 or 9 or 8. So when it is a second digit, it could be 1 or 0 or 8. So and then when it is the last digit, it really depends on what the first digit is. So it's like we first try to enumerate all the possibilities for the first half, and if n is a odd number, in the middle there are only 3 options, and for the rest half, it really we cannot do any enumeration. It is just based on the first half. So I would say that's pretty much about it. And if we want to think about the time complexity, I would say roughly, if we consider just okay, so if we think that each digit can have 5, but I mean it's a very, very rough estimation. If we have 5 possibilities for first of the half, I would say the runtime is going to be, so the possibility is something like this, and to process each of the possibility, it takes time O11. So essentially the runtime will be something like this. But again, this is very rough because it depends on if n is equal to even number or it's an odd number. It's different. But in general, I think this should be fairly correct. So the next part is about coding. So coding, don't be too slow, care about the correctness, and also the readability. So let's get started and do some coding work. Well, if n is equal to 0, then I would say first of all create a thing. Let's say straw nums. Straw nums. Let's say, yeah, straw nums as new linked list. Alright, so if n is equal to 0, then we just return straw nums. So if n is equal to 1, then straw nums.add this is, if this is the thing, we could have 1 or 8 or 0. Yeah, so let's just 0 or 1 or 8. Then we just return the straw nums. Otherwise, we need to define a helper function. Let's say find the find Strobogrammatic num. So first of all, we need to pass the n, and we pass the index as 0, and we also need to pass the straw nums to store it. Yes, I think that's it. And finally, we return the straw nums. Alright, so let's try to implement the helper function. Let's say void, this is a load of the function. So this is idx, and this is list of the string. What is that? List string. This is let's say straw nums. All right. So if idx is equal to alright, so we also need to have like a temp string. So this is temp. So if idx is equal to 0, we only have 1, 6, 8, and 9, the 3 options. So we are going to say car array options. Alright, so I think we need to define the exit of this recursive function first. So if idx is equal to n, then what we are going to do is we are going to have stronums dot add a temp, and then we return. So if idx is equal to 1, then we have several different options. So we could have car array cars is equal to, the first one is 1, 6, 8, and 9. So we are going to go through the cars, see cars, and you're gonna say find Strobogrammatic, and this is n, this is okay, so idx is equal to 0, then it should be that. So this is idx plus 1, and then this is so this is temp plus c, and this is stronums. Alright, so and if idx is smaller than n divided by 2, and then this is like this should be returned. So if it is smaller than this, so let's say if it is 4, n minus by n divided by 2 is 2, so it is, we have 0 and 1 like this. Okay, so if it is this, we have different options. Cars are like you could have 0, you could definitely include 0 there. So what if it is 5? So if it is 5, so 5 divided by 2 is 2, so we only have 0 and 1 there. Okay, so it's 0, 1, 6, 8, and 9, so we actually could have this. Alright, so if n is a odd number, and so if n is a odd number and we are actually at there, so idx is equal to so if it is 5, so if it is 5, when we are at 2, then it is that is 0 and 1. So when n is equal to 3, then divide by 2 is 1. So we have, alright, so when n divided, so when n is a odd number and idx is equal to n divided by 2, so that's the time. Alright, so I think I should have it. Okay, so when this holds, that means it is a metal. So we have, how many options do we have? We have the 0, 1, and the 8. Okay, we have those 3 options. Yeah, so otherwise it is time for us to find it is the second half for the string. So we need to find the corresponding character from the first half. So for example, when n is equal to 5, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When we are trying to enumerate the character at index 3, we need to try to look at the character at index 1. So we are going to see the character at index so car c is equal to temp dot car at which is n minus index and then minus 1. So this is a character we are looking at, and we are going to switch C, and if alright, so it doesn't have the, just use if. So if C is equal to so if it is equal to 1, then we need to find the Strobogrammatic and the time plus 1. So else if let's still use switch, I think. Otherwise it's just case 1. So just find the grammatic and then the break it, and for case 1 and 6, for case 6 we need to do something like find Strobogrammatic and break. This would be 9. So actually we could have a hash map which could be, so map character the character map is equal to car map. So okay, car map is equal new hash map. So this one, let's say we are going to have car map output this is 1 and 1, and what else? So we have the 6 to 9 and 8 to 8 and the 9 to 6. So we are just going to call find Strobogrammatic on top of temp plus car map doc at C. Alright, so yes, I think that should be pretty much it. And remember, after you're done with coding, it's not done. You still need to do some testing. So the way to do testing is if it is not a runnable platform, you should go through the test case manually, explain how this piece is going to work on top of it, and also at the same time do some sanity check on the logic. Otherwise, if it is runnable, I think you could just make use of the console to do some testing. Let's see if, okay, so if it is, okay, so it all should be string. Okay, so if it's 2, it's okay. If it's 3, is it okay? Okay, so if it's 1, it's okay. I think okay. Yeah, so I think it should be fairly good regarding regarding this piece of code. So let's give it a submission. Alright, so it says wrong answer. So why it is a wrong answer? Oh, so if we forgot to put the 0, 0 stuff here. That's essentially why we are. So if it is 4, then let's just run it. Yeah, so we forgot to put the 0, 0 into the map. So let's do a submission for it again. Okay, so now it's all good. So regarding the test case setup, I would say definitely set up when n is equal to 0 because it's special. When n is equal to 1, it's also a special thing. When n is equal to a odd number and even number. So that's essentially what the test case I would set up in my test cases. Okay, so that's it for this coding question. If you have any question about this coding puzzle, about the solution, please leave some comments below. If you find it pretty helpful, please help subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.